This may seem obvious to some people, but it's worth diving into, and that is, what is the breath? Now, of course, we cannot see our breath. We can feel our breath. There's air here that we can feel, but what is the breath? And why do we need to breathe? These are questions that are valid, that perhaps more people can ask to understand a deeper level of what life's all about. And as we tune in to the breath, we start to understand that there is a profound change that happens within us when we start to modulate or change the breath, or even just become aware of it from a moment-to-moment basis. So as we take a breath, exhale the breath, what happened? There are so many things that the breath does for us that, of course, it's like a fish in water, like, what is water kind of thing, where we almost don't even question the fact that, of course, we have to breathe, and of course this is something that is a necessary process for the human body. And at the same time, there are deep teachings that go into the process of even reaching states of breathlessness. And breathlessness is not holding the breath, but it's actually neutralizing the currents of energy, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, what's known as the Ida and the Pingala, which are the hot and cold currents, the male and the female, the yin and the yang, the sun and the moon, these currents that move through the body. Up the spine is the Pingala and down the spine is the Ida. This is simply the process of understanding that we have a biological system that is developed in response essentially to our environment, and our environment has oxygen in it, so we use oxygen to breathe. And that we're here as a species that, for basically the first time in history, has the awareness that, oh, we're breathing, oh, we're aware of something, and now we have the ability to change and control that. And essentially that becoming aware of the breath is almost this process of becoming aware of your own act of evolution. And evolution meaning becoming aware of your place in the universe to such a degree as to be able to create a new version of yourself, and or to at least step into a higher version of yourself, and or to step into the version of yourself that you were always meant to be, however you want to say that. That there is a depth to the breath and to understanding what the breath is and how the breath plays a role in the development not only of our biological functioning, but also our psychological or spiritual development. And this is the topic of many wisdom traditions from around the world, and now has been corroborated by modern science, especially neuroscience and the understanding of the nervous system, which is more than what we have time for right now. But in simple terms, that breath is a beautiful thing. It's something that perhaps carries awareness, or if you will, consciousness, that when we place our awareness or consciousness on our breathing, we can send that awareness throughout the entire body, and that we can use the breath as a vehicle for healing, as a vehicle for energizing the body or relaxing it, depending on what we choose to do in the moment. Now, the breath is very mysterious in this way, because it is this unseen thing that is not us, in the sense that, or at least we don't necessarily think of ourselves as identifying with the breath. Perhaps many of us think of ourselves as identifying with the body or our thoughts or our lives. And of course, what many of these ancient traditions will also say is that you are not that. That is not you. That you are something that is beyond this world. That you are just, we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. And so this is a much deeper topic about consciousness surviving the body, or consciousness not being based in the brain, and that somehow the breath is perhaps more us than our physical bodies even are, which is a strange thought, and yet truth is often stranger than fiction. So as we just start to become aware of the breath and it being a vehicle for awareness and a tool that we can use for evolving, that this is the purpose, this is the reason why we practice. It's not necessarily just about lowering our blood pressure or about increasing our ability to pay attention in school or anything like that. Of course, these are all valid and very useful benefits, but the main purpose really is to evolve and to grow our connection to this source of life, to this intelligence that is carried through the breath, and to be aware that we are that intelligence, we are that energy, that love, that spirit, whatever it is that you will call it, that this is the process of connecting to something greater than us. This is the process of understanding that breath is perhaps the simplest vehicle for that. And of course, there are many ways to do it, that there's not one path, that there's many, perhaps even infinite ways of going about it. There are also many ways of going about it that are not necessarily the best way. And so as we just tune into our sense of love, our sense of intuition about what's right for us and that kind of thing, always being present and aware to these changes that are happening, whether we are doing them ourselves or if someone else is telling them to do it too. Always stress test any teaching or any lesson or any practice based on our own experience. And if it feels right for us, then continue, and remembering to use common sense, get support from your medical or care team if you need, and to practice in a community with a teacher, and to be kind to yourself and to others. So enjoy this process more than anything, soak it up, and really savor it. Thank you.